Hi students, now the continuation topic of iterator design pattern. Now see the implementation section. Iterator has many implementation variants and alternatives. Here some of important ones follows here. The trade-offs oftenly depend on the control structures. Your language just provides provides some important langages even support this pattern directly. Okay, and coming to the first implementation of iterator design pattern, who controls the iteration? First of all, who controls the iteration? A fundamental issue is deciding which party controls the iteration. So here the iterator or the client that uses the iterator design pattern, when the client controls the iteration, and the iterator is called an external iterator, and when the iterator controls the iterator is an internal iterator. Simply the clients that use an external iterator must advance its traversal and request the next element explicitly from the iterator. So in contrast, the client handle an internal iterator, an operation just we need to perform, and the iterator applies that operation to every element in the aggregate. Okay, to every element in the aggregate. Okay, now here the external iterators are more flexible than internal iterators, so it is very easy to compare two collections for equality. So with an external iterator, for example, but it's practically very impossible with internal iterators. The internal iterators are especially weak in a language like C++, that does not provide anonymous functions. We can say like small talk. Okay, in other hand, we see in internal iterators are very easier to use because just they define the iteration logic for you. Just they define the iteration logic for you. And coming to the second implementation section of iterator design pattern, that is, who defines the traversal algorithm? Who defines the traversal algorithm? The iterator is not only the place where the traversal algorithm can be defined. Here the aggregate just might define the traversal algorithm and use the iterator. Just we need to store the state of the iteration. Just we need to call this kind of iterator a cursor, and since it is merely point to the current position in the aggregate, so a client will invoke the next operation on the aggregate with the cursor as an agreement. Okay, so the next operation will change the state of the cursor. Here, if the iterator is very responsible for the traversal algorithm, but then it is very easy to use for the different iteration algorithms on the same aggregate functions. So it can also be very easier to reuse the same algorithm on different aggregates. So the traversal algorithm just might need to access the private variables of the aggregate function. So here the traversal algorithm in the iterator design pattern, just you are violating the encapsulation of the aggregate function. Okay, this is the we define the traversal algorithm. And coming to the third implementation section, that is nothing but how robust is the iterator. Robust in the sense it is good or bad. It is good for the iterator design pattern. It can be very dangerous to modify an aggregate function just while you are traversing. While traversing it, if those elements are added or deleted from the aggregate, just you might end up just we are accessing an element twice or missing it completely. A simple solution, just we need to say, just we need to copy the aggregate and just we need to traverse the copy, but that's it's very too expensive in generally we say. Here a robust iterator, just we need to make sure that insertions and removals won't interface. Just it need to act as an intermediary with the traversals, and it doesn't without copying the aggregate functions. Why? Because of there are many ways just we need to implement the robust iterators. Most rely on registering the iterator with the aggregate functions, on insertion or whatever it may be removal the aggregate, either adjust, just we are taking the internal state of the iterators, just it has to be produced, or we have to be maintain that particular information internally to make sure that that is a proper traversal or not. Just we need to provide a good discussion of just how robust iterators are very implemented in ET++. Okay, and coming to the fourth implementation, that is nothing but additional iterator operation. What the meaning of the additional iterator operations? In the sense, the minimal interface to iterator, just we need to consist of the operations first and next is done. These are the first function, next function, is done function, and current item function. Some additional operations just might prove useful. For example, we need to take some ordered aggregates. It can have a previous operation that positions whatever the iterator to the previous element. A skip to operation is very useful to sorted or indexed collections. Skip to positions the iterator to an object matching the specific criteria or not. Okay, and coming to the fifth implementation, that is nothing but using polymorphic iteration in C++. In the sense, just we see polymorphic iteration have their cost. They require the iterator object to be allocated dynamically by a factory method. Hence, they should be used only when there is a need for polymorphism or not. Otherwise, we will use concrete iterators, so which it can be allocated on the stack. Okay, this is the concept. And polymorphic iterators just have another drawback also. The client is responsible for delegating them. So this is the concept of error prone, because it is very easy to forget to free a heap allocated iterator object when you are finished. So that especially when there are multiple exit points in a particular operation, if you have to be taken, an exception is triggered, the iterator object, it will never be freed. So here we need to provide the proxy design pattern. It provides a remedy. We can use a stack allocated proxy as a stand-in for the real iterator. So here the proxy deletes the iterator in its destructor function. So when the proxy goes out of the scope, the real iterator will get deallocated along with it. So the proxy, to make sure that a proper cleanup, and even in the face of exceptions, this is a best example of well-known C++ technique. We need to take some resource allocation is initialization purpose. And coming to the sixth one, that is nothing but iterators may have privileged access. Yes, exactly, it may have a privileged access. An iterator can be viewed as an extension of the aggregate that should be created it. So the iterator and the aggregate are very tightly coupled in C++. Okay, so the iterator such privileged access can make defining the new traversals. It may be very difficult to analyze that, since it will require, we are supposed to changing the aggregate interface, just we need to add some another field. another friend. Okay, it will require some changing the aggregate interface. Just we need to add some another friend. Just we need to avoid this problem. The iterator class, it can include protected operations. For just we are accessing, it is very essential. The iterator subclass may use these protected operations to gain the privileged access to the aggregate functions. Okay, and coming to the seventh implementation, that is nothing but iterators for composite. In the sense, external iterators, it can be very difficult. We need to implement over recursive aggregate structures like those in the composite pattern, and because a position in the structure, it may span many levels of nested aggregates. So therefore an aggregate iterator has to store a path through the composite. Just we need to keep track of the current object. Sometimes it is very easier just to use an internal iterator. It can record that recent position simply just by calling itself recursively, thereby storing the path just implicitly in the call stack. So here, if the nodes in a composite design pattern have an interface just for moving from a node to its siblings, parents, and whatever it may be, children, then a cursor based iterator, so it may be better alternative. The cursor only needs to keep track of the current node. Okay, so here the composite need to be traversed in more than one way, like pre-order, post-order, in-order, and breadth first traversals are very common. You can support these each kind of traversals with a different class of iterators. Okay, and coming to the final implementation, that is nothing but null iterator. Null, the name itself says a null iterator is a degenerate iterator that helpful for handling boundary conditions. Exactly, coming to the by the definition, a null iterator is always done with traversal, that is done operation, always it evaluates to be true. What I meant to say finally, in the sense, null iterator can make traversing the tree structured aggregates like composite, it's very easier at each point in the traversal. Just we need to ask the correct element for an iterator, the correct element for an iterator for its children. So the aggregate elements, just we need to return a concrete iterator as usual. Those elements just return an instance of null iterator. Okay, that implement traversal over the entire structure in a uniform way. Okay, it is the concept of implementation section. And coming to the noun uses, what are the best examples in the real world? We see the iterators are common in very object oriented systems. Okay, so most collection, the class libraries, iterators in one form or another form we can see now. Here some examples. See here, the best example here, Booch components. Watch components, Booch components, in the sense here a collection class library, and just it provides both a fixed size and dynamically it will growing the implementation of a queue. The queue interface is defined by an abstract queue class. Here no need of a factory method, just we need to ask the queue implementation for their suitable iterator. Just we need to require the interface of the abstract queue class to be very powerful enough. Just we need to implement the iterator efficiently. Okay, coming to the small talk section, iterators don't have to be defined and explicitly. Just we are taking some standard collection classes like set, dictionary, ordered collections, strings, etc. Just we need to define an internal iterator. Here just we need to include a set of stream. In the stream classes, in the sense, just we are flowing of data that supports an iterator like interface. Intermediary acts as an interface. No standard external iterators here. And coming to the ET++ container classes, we are taking some polymorphic iterators and the cleanup proxy. And coming to the UniDraw graphical editing framework classes, just we are using some cursor based iterators. And coming to the object window 2.0, just it need to support a class hierarchy of iterators for containers. Okay, iteration syntax, just it rely on overloading the post increment operator to advance the iteration, to advance the particular iteration. Coming to the related pattern, what are the related patterns of iterated design pattern? Composite, factory method, and finally memento. Okay. Coming to the section of composite, iterators are oftenly applied to recursive structures such as composite design patterns. And coming to the factory method, it to provide polymorphic iterators. To rely on factory method, just we need to instantiate the suitable appropriate iterator subclasses. Okay, and coming to the memento design pattern is oftenly used in conjunction with the iterator design pattern. So here an iterator design pattern can use a memento whatever we need to capture the state of iteration. We need to capture the state of an iteration, and finally the iterator design pattern stores the memento internally. Internally we need to store the memento design pattern. Okay, this is the concept of related design pattern to iterator design pattern. Okay.